Salute. Boxing After Dark, Nocturnal Thoughts, Nocturnal Boxing. What's happening? Let's talk about Teofimo Lopez taking his first L, his loss against George the Ferocious Kambosos. Put some respect on his name. First of all, let me take my hat off to George Kambosos. Let me give him a proper salute. And also, let me give a salute to both fighters. They put on a great performance, and they both show a warrior mentality. Teofimo Lopez, of course, was favored to win. They were being deemed the four horsemen. You know what I'm saying? They were supposed to be a throwback version of Hagler, Hearns, Sugar Ray, and Roberto Duran. You had Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Gervonta Tank Davis, and Teofimo Lopez. And then you also had Shakur Stevenson making his way into the conversation. I thought out of the four guys, Teofimo Lopez was the most balanced as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney has all the skills, not a lot of power. Gervonta Tank Davis has a lot of power, and his skills were being eclipsed by his power. Teofimo Lopez had a balance, not as many skills as Devin Haney, and not as much power as Gervonta Tank Davis, but a good combination to be balanced enough to be a great boxer and a great power, great power puncher. So, and then Ryan Garcia, I don't know what was going on with Ryan Garcia. He had a lot of power. He just had that chin that was always a question whether he would learn how to tuck that chin in. And then he had all his situations. All these guys, to me, have great potential to be champions or to come up short. To me, Teofimo Lopez jumped out into the lead when he defeated Vasily Lomachenko. But now, in hindsight, time has proven that success has been his downfall. And he let that one victory of beating High Tech, the Matrix, Vasily Lomachenko, he let that one victory change his whole trajectory of where his career was going to go. It just went to his head. It went to him and his father's head to where they took their eye off the prize. They took their eye off of George Kambosos. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hearing a whole lot of stuff about Team Lopez and just y'all hear all the conversations. It is what it is. I'm gonna do my best to be respectful and say you got a lot of father-son teams out there, and it's hard for that to work. And anytime it does work, I applaud it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm not gonna be the one to say, get rid of your father, this, that, and the third. If that happens, it happens. I was watching a couple channels, Real Talk Boxing. He made a little quick video, and the Boxing Rant. They talked about it, but the instructions that were being given in the corner by Teofimo Senior, didn't make any sense. They were contradicting. He just what. But I've heard that from other trainers in the corner, father trainers in the corner that don't give the best advice, or it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't think Teofimo Lopez really had a game plan going into this fight. You know what I'm saying? And I think he was distracted and not focused on the task at hand. He had too much on his plate. First of all, I don't want to make excuses. No excuses. He lost. He lost to the better man. Period. Point blank. A year ago, however long ago it was when the fight was first being mentioned, right after he won against Vasily Lomachenko, and he was like, his next fight, instead of fighting Devin Haney, he was like, I'm gonna go to Australia and fight this George Ferocious Kambosos. I didn't know who that was, so I started doing my film study on George Ferocious Kambosos. Found out that he had that Spartan bloodline. Found out that he had been a training partner with Manny Pacquiao, for Tim Bradley, and a couple of other fights. And like I said, to me, he had all the intangibles. He had a lot of um, good qualities, but he didn't have the power. He had the speed of Manny Pacquiao, but he didn't have the power of Manny Pacquiao. But all in all, he seemed like he was a solid fighter. But I thought he would get outgunned by Teofimo Lopez a year ago or whatever, how much time had passed. But then with all the delays, all the purse bid this, the delay that, the COVID this, what I'm saying, the issues that kept coming up, I took my eye off the fight as well. But when I came and brought my attention back to the fight, Teofimo Lopez to me was in a totally different place than he was before he or after he won against Vasily Lomachenko. One of the things I didn't like when he was making the videos with him and the mountain, the mountain from the Game of Thrones. That to me had that Conor McGregor aura around it. It's like, dude, if you a boxer, you need to be in training mode. You need to be in gladiator mode, and you making little, Ryan Garcia type of body shot challenge videos with the bear. I didn't understand it. It's just to me it was like you're not focused. You acting like a celebrity. You're not acting like somebody that's hungry. And all this, you eat with your hands, and you know what I'm saying. You talking a big talk, but I'm not seeing you focused. He just looked like, with the new tattoos and his training. When I was watching him, I seen the videos like Teofimo Lopez looking dangerous on the mitts before George Kambosos fight. So I clicked on the video. I said, let me see what he looking like, and he didn't look that good to me. Doing like the media workout, his pad work didn't look sharp. He didn't look strong. He didn't really look that confident. He was doing some kind of move where he was taking his legs completely off the ground and setting it down like almost like a mixed martial art type of a move. And I'm like, I don't know if he always did that, and I just never really paid attention. But I really never seen him completely lifting up his front leg, his front knee like this. You know what I'm saying, in the middle of his sparring. He just looked like his mind wasn't completely focused on the task at hand. He just looked like a boxer to me. And to see him doing that in his media workout, and then to see how that transcended when he actually did the same move in the boxing ring. When he was in the boxing ring, he still put his leg up like that. I don't understand what that move is. Who taught him that move? Where did that move come from? I just never seen a boxer really do a move like that, and it just threw me off. But he didn't look sharp. He didn't look focused. He looked like he was kind of out of sorts, out of rhythm. He didn't look powerful. A lot of people always said he was a fraud. It was a fake over. You know what I'm saying? He was overrated, et cetera, et cetera. I think he still put up a great fight, a great performance. He was just bested. You know what I'm saying? It was a close fight. It was a competitive fight. He had his moments. I think he did, start to put down some pressure to make, like, he came in guns blazing, swinging for the fences with no strategy. You know what I'm saying? From round one, he came in throwing haymakers, and he never set up a shot like that. He just came in very, very, what I want to say, he came in reckless, and he didn't put skill behind his talent. He just came in thinking that his power was going to get the job done. He did not take under accountability how durable and how crafty George Ferocious and how prepared Kambosos was for the fight. Kambosos was prepared for the 12-round fight. And even in the later rounds, in round 10, where he did get dropped, he came back and had a great performance in round 11. And I think he closed out decently in round 12. The fight could have been a draw because it was close, but I seen George Ferocious Kambosos do a lot more work in the majority of the rounds, and I scored the fight for Kambosos to win. Even though some people say you got to beat the champ to be the champ, and that's usually when the champ is a really big cash cow and very, very popular and has been carrying the sport for a while. I don't think Teofimo Lopez and his team did any service to their career by being so arrogant and obnoxious, and the tone they were taking with first Bob Arum, and then the tone they were kind of taking with Eddie Hearn. I think they put sort of you know, a asterisk by their accomplishments where, some people probably were ready to get rid of them anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like some people probably already had it. If it's a close fight, we done with this kid and his father for the shenanigans and the arrogance. You know what I mean? So they didn't do it themselves any service. And then to go on after a loss and still have an attitude to say, you won 10-2 and it's still the takeover. Look, he has to go and lick his wounds, go back to the drawing board, but he has an uphill battle. You know what I'm saying? He has put himself in a very, very tough spot, in my opinion, because of the way he carried himself when he was a champion. A lot of people wasn't feeling none of the moves he was making. Like even taking his belts to Canelo's fight was a issue that people had talked about that I feel like, I'm not going to touch on it. You know what I mean? So a lot of moves that Teofimo Lopez was doing and his father was doing, and including that it's a social media era where everything you do now gets amplified, some of the good looks just got exploited. And I think that's going to carry out throughout his career to where he might have reached his pinnacle and he might not be able to get to that. He might not be able to reach that pinnacle again. He might have just suffered from putting his victory against Vasily Lomachenko so high up that now that's the highest he's going to ever reach. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. I wish he would have addressed it differently. I wish those guys would just fight each other. I think it would have changed a lot of the outcomes. Win, lose, or draw, I feel like if you would have fought against Devin Haney or fought against Gervonta Tank Davis or fought against Ryan Garcia, those guys winning and losing against each other, I felt like just builds the sport. But when you have a guy who comes and upsets the apple cart, like George Ferocious Kambosos, I think it's very exciting for the sport of boxing. It makes people really recognize that you never know what's going to happen, and it makes it more interesting. But as far as that generational crop of who's going to be the cream of the crop, that's just completely gone now. Like I can't even look at that crew of young kids anymore. They all off on their own paths. I wish them all nothing but the best, but I don't see them fighting each other to see who's the best out of them. Like, when George Ferocious Kambosos beats Teofimo Lopez, and now, Devin Haney gonna say his piece, and Ryan Garcia gonna say his piece, and Gervonta Tank Davis, everybody gonna have something to say. So I wanted to see who's gonna be the best out of those guys by the way of them fighting each other. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, it's chess, not checkers. You got to see what moves you're going to make. Obviously, the move he made to go fight George Ferocious Kambosos, it didn't work out for him the way he thought it was. And the way he's handling it, the way he's talking about it, I don't see him coming back from that for a long time. I mean, he has a lot of talent, and I'm sure he will be able to find another way to rebuild. But first of all, it's going to have to be at 140, most likely. And the competition at 140, to me, is different. Unless he's a different fighter at 140. Like, I really never gave him a shot at fighting a Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, to me, is just heads and shoulders, leagues above Teofimo Lopez. And unless he gets to the point where he can't make 140, because Josh Taylor is a pretty big 140 too. And he's trying to get up to their 147. So at 140, maybe he can recreate his career. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis, maybe they will meet at the 140. But 135, he had the belts, he held the belts, he took pictures with the belts. But as soon as it came down to him to defending the belts, he already had the issue with whether or not it was the undisputed with Devin Haney having the WBC belt. He already had that issue that he never got corrected. And then to go and lose all of his belts in one swoop, where somebody swoops in and takes all your belts like that, I mean, he chopped one of them balls off. He didn't chop both of them off because Teofimo Lopez still made it a close fight. He still knocked down George Kambosos, and I think he knocked him down harder than he was knocked down. I think he was knocked down in the first round with a flash knockdown. I think he knocked down George, you know, through more of a battle, wore him down and landed a big shot. But he still got one of his little balls clipped. And it's going to be a while before he can just come back with the same energy that he had, the way he was talking about Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, and especially Josh Taylor. Like, you don't want to even speak on Josh Taylor. So we'll see what Devin Haney does with JoJo Diaz. I think that this loss for Lopez takes a lot of pressure off of Team Haney. So they don't have to go in there feeling like they have to really be as impressive and getting there and going for it like to please the crowd. He can just completely be a safe boxer and whitewash in 12 round decision JoJo Diaz, and as long as he's like, well, you see, I didn't get beat the way, you know, the way Teofimo Lopez got beat. So that's going to take pressure off of Devin Haney, and I think he's going to go into this fight with just a mentality of showing off the sweet science and completely outbox JoJo Diaz, not get caught up into a brawl, not get caught up into a slugfest, and not worry about that inside fight game of JoJo Diaz where he only has a good chance of winning if he's able to get Devin Haney to really engage in a close encounter battle. He's going to keep it on the outside and jab, 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 1-2, 1-2. Stick to the body, stay out the way, stick and move, and look good doing that, knowing that he don't have to worry about post-fight comparing his fight to Teofimo Lopez's fight. So, crowning George Ferocious Kambosos. For anybody that left a comment on my video a year ago saying that Kambosos was nothing to take for granted and that he was a great fighter, boom, I salute you. You know what I'm saying? You get all the credit in the world for recognizing that greatness way back then and pointing it out. And I think he did show that Spartan warrior mentality, tough, durable kid. And he really surprised a lot of people. And to a certain extent, he surprised me. I thought after seeing everything I saw in the last couple of months, looking at Teofimo Lopez versus this fight, I thought that Teofimo Lopez was going to have a tough fight that he was going to edge out. And that was my honest opinion. A year ago or so, I thought he was going to blow Kambosos out of the water, easy money. But after everything that happened, and then looking at the way Teofimo Lopez was looking, he had the straps on his shoulder. They was talking about he had injuries. He's sitting there throwing body punches to the mountain and taking body punches from the mountain, playing games. And then the COVID-19 and blah, 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 blah. The way he looked going into the fight, I said, this is not going to be the fight it could have been a year ago. And it's going to be a tough, grueling fight. And I expected he would edge it out. But that's not the case. He got bested. He got beat. I seen one time where George popped him with a jab. Lopez punched away I don't know what he was doing. He punched away his lead hand and left himself open. And then George came back and just double tapped him. Pop, pop. I'm thinking to myself, who ever told you to punch away somebody's lead hand and leave yourself that wide open? I don't know if it was fatigue, frustration, or what it was, but it just looks so obscure to me to see Lopez put so much effort and throw away a punch just to punch somebody's lead hand down and leave yourself open for a double jab. Made no sense. He was fighting very reckless and he just looked like he had no answers. And then he thought he won the fight. I mean, as he had cupcakes all over his face. He had swellings and busted up. For him to think he won that fight, you know, I understand it was a little bit of a wordplay trickery in the announcements of the winner. And he just got his brain scrambled up, so maybe he just was still a little concussed. But when he go back and looks at this fight, I think he'll see for every one time he hit Kambosos was hitting him 3 or 4 times, and that's boxing. Woo! Nocturnal thoughts, man. I'm gone, man. I think we got next weekend, this weekend, Devin Haney versus JoJo Diaz. Be another great fight. And also, I still haven't really got a chance to watch Cool Boy Steph fight. I just heard some things about it. Heard that was a good fight. Maybe I get a chance to watch that this week. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. Bow, bow, bow. Salute. I'm gone.